Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing my squad. Today I'm going over an update for my vicious, combo-licious Vendreads. This deck is savage, yo. Like, bro, they put the oomph, to the savage, bro. Like, this deck is really good. It's one of those ritual decks that actually are combo-oriented. They can build really, really substantial boards. And I'm talking about venerable, competitive boards. This deck, its caliber goes, it kind of fluctuates between tier 3 and 2 and 2.5 and 1.5. Like, the builds that you can do with this deck, like certain builds are like tier 3 materials, certain builds are like tier 2. Like, this deck is really, really strong. It's not that just that you can extra link, because obviously you can extra link with Vendreads if people didn't know that. But and we're getting the new link monster, but it's the fact that you're able to give the additional effects to the ritual monsters that kind of make it that much harder. Thank you. I know you guys said bless you. Thank you. It makes it that much harder for your opponent to play through your boards. And going second, this deck has insane board-breaking potential. It's really solid. I like it a lot. It has a very close place in my heart. And thank you. I know you guys said bless you. Thank you. And it's just one of those decks that you never get tired of playing. It's actually really fun, addictively fun. Once you know how to play it and you know how it works, you're just allotted all these playmakers and all these ways to build boards. Like, it's just like, wow, who would have thought that Vendreads could do this? So let's hop into my list. So we played 3 Slayers. Slayer is just exponentially better than all the other ritual monsters. The first one that they made was the best. Every one that they made after that just could not exceed the potential of Slayer. Such an incredible card. I call this card an Agruthamont. It's really, really good. If you guys don't know what Agruthamont is, just look it up. But Slayer is incredible. His effect, if it was once per turn, you would be able to make infinite loops with this card through Firewall. And even without Firewall, as long as you can link and kind of just find a way to put your extra deck cards back, because you only have 15, you can do infinite links because of this card. He's just really good. All of his effects are amazing. He's just a solid, well-rounded, I guess, main deck boss monster. I do play the one Executor. I make this card with Core. My entire board, spells, traps, and monsters, cannot be targeted by anything. It doesn't even matter. And if you can't Cerberus, Unicorn, or Phoenix, if you can't Impermanence, if you can't Veiler, I'm pretty much like, I'm happy at the fact that I know that a lot of ways that you could break my board or prevent me from making it are pretty much cut short. It makes it that much easier for me to progress towards my win conditions, progress towards that game state where it's very one-sided, where you can clearly see as a viewer who's winning the duel. And he does float. He allows you to search a Vendread card from your deck to your hand, which is really good. We play 1 Battle Lord. Battle Lord's best suited for going second, but going first, you can use him to play through hand traps. Just summon him, call monster, and your opponent will no longer be able to hand trap you. Or you can use him to even bait, like a Veiler or an Impermanence. And when they use that, you'll obviously have the knowledge that now they have a hand trap, because they don't want him to resolve, meaning that they want to play another hand trap. So it kind of just gives you a little bit of an increment of information that kind of says, all right, now I think I should stop. I just want to make a venerable board, but not too overcommitted. I don't want to overextend and punish myself by knowing that he has a hand trap and still continuing to just play kind of like willy-nilly. And you can like call traps if you're playing against a trap deck. Can't use any traps, so it helps going second. Call monster if they have a board full of monsters. Can't play monsters. It's like a Shockmaster is a spell speed one that doesn't linger. And I know that he's not, I guess you could say, I know he's not the equivalent to Shockmaster, but very similar traits. 1 Chimera. My partner actually made me a believer of this card. We have a source. Me and Cool Cuz have a source that confirms that this card negates board wipes, and he negates negators. If the negate negates and destroys, he can negate it. And he's not once per turn, and he does, in fact, build chain links on himself. This card builds chain links on itself. That's broken. It's like a little Stardust, but it's different. So those are my 6 vanillas, my 6 blue cards. I normally play 6 to 7 rituals in any deck. I would never exceed 7 unless I'm playing Necros. Now for the main deck Vendreads, I like Houndhorde a lot. In fact, as I learned through playtesting, and I didn't discover this from anybody else except myself, you can FTK with this deck if you play Amazoness Archer. Because there's so many ways when you're comboing off when you can make Invoker, but I just play Levier because I like to put a Houndhorde back so I can use it again. or like put an anima back so I can use it again. But you can easily just go Invoker, get Archer, and you can FTK. Now, granted, it's not like over 60% consistent, but 60% minimum, you're able to FTK. But it's just like cool that the fact that you can also FTK in addition to everything that this deck can do. Like, can you believe people don't really know how good Vendreads are? And like, it baffles me that this deck is never taken seriously. Like, nobody cares about this deck. And it doesn't bother me, but I'm very baffled at the fact that people don't understand the potential of how good this deck can really be. I just think that it goes to show that a lot of people only play decks simply for the fact that they think it's meta relevant, and a lot of people play it. So basically, like, if it's not meta, then people really just overlook its potential. That's why you see a lot of creeping sleeper decks top at regionals, like Crusadia, for example, or just like another deck like that. Or like, you know, how BAs came up, because it's like people never considered it. People never cared. They never prepared for it. They never took it serious. And it's like the deck always had its potential. Like, for example, BA always had that kind of potential, but nobody played the deck, and that was like the issue. But it's good to stay under the radar, and this deck is totally under the radar. I played 2 Animas. Anima is a really, really good extender. In fact, it's an extender that this archetype never had before. And it's really good. Well, this and Levier the Sea Dragon, that's how I build my boards turn 1. I can actually extra link with just 2 cards. And my extra link is really different from the one that you've seen. Like, pre-prep in Solitaire is the way you extra link. But there's another way you can do it depending on how your hand shape. You can do it with pre-prep, Gozuki, pre-prep, and Unizombie. It just depends what you have in your hand. Because like Unizombie and pre-prep, you can still do it. You just have to have a Mizuki in your hand legitimately. But it's really easy to do. But Anima's amazing. I've considered playing 1-for-1 because I do play quite a few targets. But I just don't think it's like mandatory. Then the 1-ups, I play 1 Revenants, 1 Core, and 1 Stride. I actually like the main deck Vendreads because they help me to build my boards turn 1. And I like being able to use their effects to kind of push themselves out, spit themselves out on the board. Because when I'm making my Slayer, the first Slayer I make is very lackluster. I don't give him any effects. I just use him for link summoning, use him to extend my plays. But when I'm on my end board, the Slayer, the final Slayer I make, I use it to trigger Gumblar for 1. So I want to make sure that I can rip cards out their hand because I want to dump some of my other Vendreads or my other zombies and other playmakers in my graveyard. But also for 2 is the final Slayer you make should be the strongest and the best one. And while you're building your board, it allows you to kind of spit out more good Vendread monsters via Firewall, etc. So that you could just finally just tribute all of them for a Slayer. Or if you want to, you could just summon Executor because he's a level 8 and he allows you to use more of the names. Because you can't, like, if all your monster levels add up to 8, you can't go past 8. You can't be like, all right, these add up to 8, but then I'm going to add this. So being able to make Executor is really strong because you can do them with, like, the way I make him normally is Houndhorde, Revenants, and Core, where he can banish spells and traps and special summon monsters, and he himself can't be targeted. That's like the best Executor you can make. But then there are some matchups when you want to make him with Stride and Anima, because it allows you to get battle effects, which, you know, you can banish a monster. You can get some draw power, really good. Stride is another great extender that I didn't play in my previous list, but when you're doing the extra link board, it makes it a lot easier to do using your Stride. You have a lot of extenders in this deck, like a lot. And then for kind of like some standard zombie cards, we played triple Solitaire. Solitaire should be played in any zombie deck. He's part of the extra link. In addition to that, he's a 1-card rank 4, or he's a 1-card level 8 synchro. So overall, he gives you a lot of value, a lot of longevity. The card naturally pays for itself. And in the grind games, you'd be surprised a lot of snowball effects that trigger after you resolve 1 Solitaire, like getting Omega, putting back Mizukis is the bare minimum. You can go so much further than that. We have triple Mizuki. And I also in this list play 2 Solitaires. I play 2 Unizombies. And the sole reason is just because, like, I see Unizombie enough. And also at the same time, like, I use Unizombie to do what a lot of my Vendread effects do, which is kind of just get extra zombie monsters on the field, get extra monsters on the field in general. And normally, like, 1 is saved for the Solitaire and the other saved for, like, other combos. But I just found, like, 3 was not needed, but at the same time, it's not to say that you like, shouldn't play 3. It's just more or less personal preference. And that concludes the monster count. Another thing too is I think there was a list when I played Gozukis, and I don't really want to play Gozuki in this list simply because like Unizombie kind of already does what Gozuki does. But at the same time, Gozuki is a good card, and I recommend if you have space in your list, you should definitely play like 1 or 2. For the spells, we're starting off with triple Vendread Knights. I really wish that this card just said add any Vendread card. I think every Vendread player wishes that this did that. Then we have 2 copies of Optimus Prime to search out our field spell. This is very important, being able to dig for your Vendread monsters. More specifically, the rituals that aren't searchable through prep or pre-prep, which was going to be like Executor, and then the ones that you can't pre-prep for is everything that's not Slayer. So it's really important to be able to do that, and also digging for your main deck Vendreads that aren't ritual monsters. Because like if you don't open Vendread Charge, you still need to have a way to get them on the board at the end of your combo so that you can make your perfect Slayer. I still play triple pre-preparation of rites. It's the juice and berries, it's the sauce, and I do play 3 regular preps. Really good, not once per turn. That's what makes it more flexible than prep, and it helps you going second. Also extend your plays going first because you're able to add your ritual spells back and just keep it pushing and make more Slayers. Triple Allure Darkness because everything's dark minus the Mizukis. And and the solitaires, and it's okay to banish them because you normally get your stuff back through Anima and also Levy or the Sea Dragon. So it's really good. It actually sets you up for play sometimes. And I also play triple Vendread Barrage, basically Zodiac Barrage. I actually like it because it extends your plays as well because you're able to hit cards like Mizuki, hit cards like Stride, hit cards like Anima and Hound Horde and Core from your hand for cost. Summon your Revenants, which I normally summon off of this. And then you get their effects engraved to special summon more monsters. It helps you to make your Skull Dread. It helps you to OTK because it's a quick play that you can play from hand. It helps you to make your perfect Slayer as well because you're only afforded 1 normal summon per turn. So it's nice to have that additional extender. And I played 3 because it's not searchable. I need to maximize on it because it's actually a combo piece that I really want to open up with game 1, turn 1. Then I play 6 ritual spells. I play 3 of each. Origin is infinitely better than Evolution, but Evolution is kind of like a free play. It's less resources used, and it's a lot more flexible in regards that you can use it without a setup. Like Origin sometimes requires a setup, but Evolution is just like 1 card combo basically. 1 card combo. One others are Foolish, Monster Reborn, and Soul Charge. Really good, really good. Foolish is like a god card in this deck, and that's it for the spells. Every spell pretty much does something for you, which allows you to build your boards or search out your combo pieces. For the traps, we played 2 Vampire Domination and 1 Revolution. Vampire Domination is my own little spicy tech. In fact, I don't really see any Vendread list. In fact, there is no Vendread list that I've seen playing this. And it's not Vendread Vampires, it's just Vendreads. But the reason why we play Domination is actually because every turn 1, with our boards being made, we're ending with Vampire Sucker. We make Vampire Sucker every single turn 1. There's never a game when you don't make it. Like even your brick hands make Vampire Sucker because this deck, all it does is spit monsters out, whether it's through the grave, the hand, or the banish zone, or the deck. It's just summoning monsters. You make your Sucker and you have a live Solemn Judgment, and you can gain life points, so it's really good. I recommend if you're playing Vendreads, play it. It's never gonna brick on you. You're always gonna summon Sucker. And I play the one at Revolution because it has grind game synergy. It allows me to kind of recycle my rituals and stuff like that. And also its graveyard effect allowing me to shuffle back 5 zombies is really clutch. I prefer to search it off Executor and then discard it off Knights because it can be used the same turn it's sent to the grave. The main deck's 50. I've always played 50 card Vendreads because I find that it's so consistent and there's so many great cards that you can play that when you're playing 40, you're kind of missing out on some of the greatest stuff in the deck. That's just my opinion, but I do have a lot of experience playing the deck, so I do know what I'm talking about. The extra is Gumblar. You're making this every turn 1. Firewall is next to it because you're doing extra links with this deck. Trigate, Unicorn, Vampire Sucker, the MVP. It's what starts the nuts. We have 1 Cerberus, we have 1 Phoenix, 1 Goblin, just a small Nightmare package. We're not playing Griffin or what's his name? The Nightmare, what's that water one? Nightmare Mermaid, because we actually don't need it. We can extra link without Ibly. We can extra link without Mermaid. We can do the extra link and we don't really need Griffin because we'll have it on lock, honestly. But if you want to play Griffin, it kind of just makes the board a lot less feasible and a lot more durable and sturdy. But I just found that like if I was to cut a card for Griffin, it would be like Underclock, but Underclock comes up a lot more simply because I need the downporting arrow for me to complete my extra link. That's why I chose to play that over the Griffin, because if I was using Griffin for the down pointing arrow, then I'd obviously be giving my opponent a zone to use, and it makes Griffin very lackluster. And then the Link Karibo, it's how you finish your X-Link as well, because Core and Anima are level 1s, and Core summons itself pretty much for free, allowing you to just distribute it off for Link Karibo, or just link into Link Karibo. And that's it for the links. The synchros, double Omega, you actually need to play Omega in your list. I wanted to just go all links and like one Levier, but I had to play more competitive options, because if you're not extra linking, you still need an unfeasible and viable board, and I found that Omegas help you out a lot. Not just to rip cards, but to kind of make sure that you have a follow-up through Mizuki. Putting back Anima and stuff like that is really good. Putting back your Vendreads that banish themselves is really good with Omega. Putting back a Slayer. Sometimes I banish Slayer to summon Slayer through the ritual spell. He's just really, really good. He's an extender as well. And being able to put himself back into the extra deck and any card that you need, like your one-ofs, you know, like your Reborn, your Soul Charge, stuff like that. He's really good. I do play 1BL simply because he's a high-selling card in specific matchups. I know that Unicorn can out this card, but some decks like True Dracos really can't like out this card a lot of the times. And when you're playing that deck where you know its only form of removal is destruction, you just make BLs and you can stall out, or you can potentially win. And then finally, I play 2 XYZs. I play 1 Levier and 1 Dweller. I actually play Dweller because when you extra link, you can still summon Dweller in column number 1 or column number 5. It's your choice, because you will have an arrow that's vacant right here. And summoning Dweller kind of just makes sure that Gokis are still under, you know, they're still on check. Thunder Dragons, when they come out, will still be on check. Cyber Dragons actually kind of struggle a little bit through Dweller. It's just generically a good rank 4. It's kind of like one of the best of the format. And that concludes my Vendread deck profile, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you like it. Let me know your honest opinion and feedback on what you think my Vendread deck needs, or if you think it's good. I just really want to hear your feedback in general. If you feel like there's certain cards that I should be playing or that I can be playing, don't get me wrong. I've played this deck like for a long time. I've done so many variations on it. I just play it the way that I want to. So, like, you know, constructive criticism is fine. I really don't mind it. I'm not even a sensitive guy. Like, it's so hard to hurt my feelings. Like, even if you're trying to troll me. Like, I'm one of those Yu-Gi tubers you just can't troll. But either way, like, if there's certain cards that you feel I should be playing, you know, I'll hear you out. You might just share an idea that I never knew of. But other than that, I just really want to know what you guys think. Especially people that play Vendreads, because I love bouncing ideas. I love it when you have somebody that knows the deck and plays it, and then somebody else that knows the deck and plays it. When we can come together, we can create something that neither one of us were capable of creating. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys for this list. God bless you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. And y'all stay up. Be safe. Don't be doing drugs. And definitely stay tuned for the next video. We've got Pure True Draco and Shadalls coming up very soon. Peace.